Have you ever felt an unshakable sense that something or someone is keeping watch over you, not out of admiration, but with a deeper, calculated intent? It's more than just the curious glances of people around you. It feels orchestrated, deliberate, and at times even oppressive. Why does your presence seem to shift the atmosphere, causing energy to ripple in ways that draw others near, leaving them captivated yet uneasy? What if I told you this isn't your imagination, but an undeniable truth that has been hidden from you until now? There's a reason you've always felt different, set apart, and even targeted. A secret government agency operating in the shadows has been watching you, not for who you are today, but for the destiny you carry within you, a divine calling so powerful that it threatens the very systems they have built to maintain control. They've tried to stay hidden, cloaked in secrecy, but now their cover is blown. The truth about why they've been observing you is about to be revealed. You see, you are no ordinary person. You carry a divine spark within you, a light so radiant that it disturbs the forces of darkness. Just as Pharaoh feared the potential of Moses and sought to destroy him before his purpose could be fulfilled, these hidden forces have watched and trembled at what you are destined to become. As the scripture says, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. That light is within you, and it has always been their greatest fear. Before we dive into this extraordinary revelation, I want to pause and express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has supported this message through Super Thanks. Your contributions are not just appreciated, they're essential in spreading this truth to more people who are searching for answers, awakening to their purpose, and stepping into their God-given calling. If what I'm saying stirs something in your spirit, I invite you to type 999 in the comments below. This is your way of declaring alignment with your divine mission and signaling that you are ready to walk in the fullness of your destiny. What you're about to hear will uncover a silent battle that has raged around you your entire life. A battle between light and darkness, where you stand at the center as a chosen warrior. Every whisper of doubt, every strange occurrence, and every resistance you've faced has been a sign of this spiritual war. They have tried to keep you small, to cloud your vision, and to diminish your light, but their time is up. Are you ready to step into the truth of who you are and why you were chosen? Can you feel the pull of your spirit, the stirring of something greater calling you to rise? Stay with me, because what comes next will shatter illusions, expose hidden agendas, and reveal the incredible power and purpose that resides within you. This is not just another message, it's a call to awaken, to rise, and to claim your rightful place in the divine plan. The answers you've been searching for are just moments away. Will you be bold enough to embrace them? Will you step into the light and become the person they've feared you would be all along? Let's dive in, because this is the beginning of your awakening, and the truth is waiting to be uncovered. God's chosen ones, a secret agency, watched you, but now they've been completely exposed. Think about it, beloved chosen ones. Have you ever wondered why history remembers the few who stood against entire systems of oppression while so many others faded into obscurity? It is because they were not ordinary. They were called chosen to carry out a divine purpose. Consider Moses, a man who once stuttered and doubted himself, yet he defied Pharaoh and led his people to freedom. Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? Exodus 3:11. What did Pharaoh do when he sensed Moses' purpose? He tightened his grip. He sought to monitor, control, and destroy him. Why? Because power always recognizes a threat before it fully manifests. And now, chosen one, the same pattern is unfolding in your life. Have you not felt it? the watchful gaze, the subtle intrusions, the sense that someone or something knows what you are becoming. This is not imagination. You are being monitored because the systems of this world, fragile and desperate, see the divine light within you. A light no darkness can comprehend or extinguish. John 1:5. Look at the stories of old. When David, just a shepherd boy, was chosen by God to be king, the entire kingdom became unsettled. King Saul watched him obsessively, fearing what David would become. David's courage, his faith, and his refusal to bow to fear were what made him dangerous. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. Saul could see David's heart, and he knew that his own power was at risk. Do you know why would the powers of this world watch you so intently if you were insignificant? Why would they waste their time on someone who posed no threat? The answer is clear. You are a disruptor. You are a force of truth in a world built on lies, and your courage terrifies them. Have you noticed how every time you speak out, every time you question, resist, or challenge the accepted script, you are met with resistance? That is no accident. Every question you ask, every injustice you expose, send shockwaves through their carefully constructed reality. They see you uncovering lies, just as Jesus overturned the tables of the money changers in the temple, calling out their corruption. Matthew 21:12-13. Can you feel it? The walls of the world's systems trembling as you move, as you speak, as you refuse to conform. You have been watched because you carry the truth, a weapon far more dangerous than any sword. But here lies the deeper question, chosen one. What will you do about it? Will you let their gaze intimidate you, or will you let it confirm your purpose? Every hero, every chosen one, had a choice. Moses could have refused God's call. David could have run from Goliath. Esther could have stayed silent before the king and allowed her people to perish. But they chose to act, and the systems of power fell before them. You too have that choice. The forces watching you do so because they fear your awakening. They fear what you might do if you step fully into your purpose. But remember this, their fear is a prophecy of your power. So, will you be like those who accept chains as comfort, or will you be like the chosen ones who rise? The systems of this world are fragile, held together only by silence and compliance. And here you stand, a chosen one, called to shatter their illusions and bring forth the truth. Will you fulfill the destiny they dread? The time is near. The question remains, are you ready? Beloved chosen ones, history speaks a timeless truth. Those who stand against oppression are always targeted, from the revolutionaries who shattered empires to the nameless souls who stood unyielding before conquerors. Their legacy echoes through the ages. But you are not merely an echo. You are the storm they fear. They see it, they know it, and now you are beginning to understand it too. Look at the story of Daniel, a man who refused to bow to the decrees of earthly kings. When the system of Babylon demanded submission, Daniel prayed boldly to the God of heaven, defying their control. What was the result? They threw him into the lion's den. Why? Because an unwavering, awakened mind terrifies those who cling to power. Yet Daniel emerged unscathed, for he was guarded by something no earthly force could overcome. Daniel 6:22. In this modern age where data and algorithms dictate the rhythms of life, where your every move is tracked, categorized, and reduced to patterns, you stand apart. While others move like puppets, you are the anomaly, a disruption in their flawlessly crafted system. The unseen forces that shape this world thrive on predictability. They rely on the habits, complacency, and silence of the many. Yet, you are proof that not everything can be coded, subdued, or controlled. Do you see it, chosen one? While they expect compliance, you question. Where they enforce silence, you provoke thought. While they reduce humanity to probabilities, your mind remains unshackled, free, alive, and deeply aware. And that awareness terrifies them. Think of Jesus Christ, who defied the systems of the Pharisees and the Roman Empire. The religious and political leaders of his time sought to predict, contain, and silence him. Yet every move he made shattered their expectations. When they sought to trap him with questions, he turned their schemes into revelations. Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and to God the things that are God's. Mark 12-17. They could not decode him, and so they feared him. In their desperation to stop him, they revealed their own inability to control him. And so it is with you. Do you know that you are marked as an outlier, an error they cannot correct? Their systems have tried to map your choices, but your movements are too erratic, your thoughts too deep, your spirit too resilient. Their world thrives on cold calculations, but you are the uncontrollable variable, the anomaly that could bring their entire structure crashing down. But here's the deeper truth. They are not watching you to control you. They are watching you because they fear what you represent. You are living proof of their failure, evidence that their systems of manipulation are incomplete, powerless against an awakened mind. Do you remember Gideon, who led an army of only 300 men to victory against an enemy that outnumbered him 1,000-fold? Why did God reduce Gideon's forces to so few? Because God wanted to show that no human system, no power of this world, could overcome a mind and spirit awakened to his purpose. Judges 7:2-7. You, chosen one, carry that same unstoppable spirit within you. Now consider this. If they could control you, they wouldn't fear you. If they could predict you, they wouldn't monitor you. But the more they try to watch, the more they expose their inability to subdue you. Your awareness is their threat, your resistance, their failure. Every time you refuse to march to the beat of their fabricated rhythm, you weaken their illusion of order. Chosen one, why do you think you were born in this time, in this moment? Is it by accident that you are awakening now in a world that desperately needs your light? Or is it part of a divine design, a calling that you're only beginning to embrace? They fear you because you remind them of this simple, eternal truth. Even the greatest empires crumble when one soul refuses to bow. Their surveillance, their calculations, their control, all of it is powerless against you because the fire within you burns brighter than any system they have ever created. Now, the time has come for you to step fully into your calling. The system fears you, chosen one, because they know your awakening will be their undoing. Chosen ones, do you know why you are feared? It is because you refuse to bow. In a world engineered for compliance, where silence is praised and submission is rewarded, your defiance stands out like a beacon in the night. While others blend into the shadows of conformity, you rise, uncompromising, unwavering, and unapologetic. Your questions shake the foundations of their carefully built illusions. They fear you because you do not follow their scripts, because you refuse to fit neatly into the roles they crafted for you. You are the anomaly they cannot explain, the resistance they cannot contain. Consider this. The systems of this world thrive on predictability. They rely on the masses staying docile, unaware, and too afraid to challenge their place. They built their empires on the backs of those who surrendered without a fight, those who accepted chains as comfort and silence as security. Yet you are different. You are the voice that refuses to be drowned out, the question that refuses to be ignored. Like Moses, who stood before Pharaoh and demanded, "Let my people go." Exodus 5:1. Your defiance is not small, it is a rupture in their system. Moses' words seemed insignificant against the might of Egypt, yet they unraveled an empire. Can you feel it? Every time you refuse to bow to their expectations, every time you demand answers they cannot give, you expose their control as fragile, their systems as weak. They call it rebellion. You call it freedom. And do you know why they fear your freedom so much? Because freedom is contagious. When one person breaks their chains, others begin to see their own. When one voice speaks truth in a sea of complacency, it becomes the ripple that grows into a tidal wave. Look at the story of Esther, a young woman placed in a position of influence for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. When the Jewish people faced annihilation, Esther was called to confront the king. Her silence would have been safe, her submission acceptable, but she chose to act, to speak, to expose the schemes of the enemy, and in doing so she saved her people and shattered the enemy's plans. What about you, chosen one? Could it be that you too were placed here for such a time as this? You are not a cog in their machine, a nameless gear in their structure. You are the wrench that stops it cold. Your defiance is not just resistance, it is a revelation of their fragility. They fear you because your questioning exposes their lies. Your refusal to submit reveals their powerlessness. Like Jesus before the Pharisees who sought to trap him with questions and schemes, you confront them with a truth they cannot contain. Jesus said, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." John 8:32. Truth is their greatest enemy because it shatters their illusion of control. Do you see now why they watch you? Why they fear you? You were not made to conform. You were made to confront. When God moves to expose the schemes of darkness, he does not always choose the mighty or the powerful. He chooses the unlikely, the overlooked, the ones the world dismisses. Look at Gideon, who felt small and inadequate, yet God called him to defeat an army far greater than his own. Judges 6-7. Why? Because God's strength is revealed through those who are faithful, those who refuse to bow to fear. Chosen one, you are not a random voice stepping into the light. You are an instrument of divine purpose, a vessel chosen to strip the veil from the systems of control that have thrived in darkness for too long. Your resistance is not accidental. Your awareness is not coincidental. It is part of a divine design, timed perfectly by the one who sees all things. For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light. Luke 8:17. So, what will you do with the calling that rests on your shoulders? Will you shrink back, or will you embrace the role God has set before you? Will you let their fear silence you, or will you rise as the rebellion they cannot contain? Their systems tremble because they know this truth. Once you step fully into your purpose, once you embrace the power of your voice, their illusion will collapse. The time has come to awaken. You are the ripple that will become the wave. You are the truth they cannot silence. You are the storm that will shatter their darkness. You are chosen, and you are dangerous, for you refuse to bow. Beloved chosen ones, understand this. The courage you see in others, and you, the boldness to stand when all the world demands submission, is not their own. It is forged in heaven, aligned with God's perfect plan, birthed from the flames of truth, and strengthened in the furnace of justice. Such courage is no ordinary resolve. It is a heavenly disruption, a divine declaration of war against the lies, corruption, and deceit that have ruled unchecked for far too long. God has raised up those who refuse to kneel before systems built on shadows, whose voices pierce the chaos like a roaring storm, and whose actions echo his righteous anger. But what about you, chosen one? Have you not felt the stirring within you, the quiet but undeniable pull to stand in the face of what others accept? This call is not random. It is not coincidence. Those who rise in truth do so not for fame, not for fortune, and not for rebellion's sake. They rise because they are moved by the sheer weight of truth. They have glimpsed what lies behind the curtain, the decay, the hollow foundations of power, and they cannot look away. Like a prophet crying out in the wilderness, they are compelled by what they know, by what God has shown them, to act. Think of John the Baptist, standing alone in the desert, boldly calling the people to repent and exposing the hypocrisy of the religious elite. His words cost him everything, yet he could not remain silent. "Prepare the way for the Lord. Make straight paths for him." Matthew 3:3. His courage was not his own. It was the courage of heaven flowing through him. Or consider Elijah, who stood alone against 450 prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. Surrounded by opposition, Elijah called down fire from heaven, proving the futility of their gods and the supremacy of the Lord. 1 Kings 18:36-39. What gave Elijah the strength to face such odds? It was the power of God, the same power that now moves in those who refuse to bow to the corruption of this age. Do you see it now? You stand not as a passive observer, but as a witness to a war that is as old as time itself, the battle between light and darkness, between hidden evils and the piercing clarity of revealed truth. The whistleblower, the one who steps into the light and exposes what was meant to remain hidden, is not an accident. They are not a random rebel. They are an instrument of divine purpose, chosen to strip away the veil of deception and bring truth to a world that has grown comfortable in lies. But revelation is not the end of God's plan, it is the beginning. When truth comes to light, it does so to call others to action. It is not enough to simply see the lies or hear the truth. God's plan demands participation. Like Esther, who was told, "And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Esther 4:14. You are not here by chance. You have been positioned, prepared, and awakened for this very moment. Now the question turns to you. Chosen one, what will you do? Will you stand on the sidelines and watch others rise, or will you take your place in the unfolding plan of heaven? Will you remain silent, or will you let your voice join the chorus of those who speak truth to power, no matter the cost? The courage you see in others is a spark, but it is meant to ignite a fire in you. Their actions are not just a revelation, they are a call to arms, a reminder that the time of silence is over. Think of Jesus as he overturned the tables of the money changers in the temple, Matthew 21:12-13. His actions were not random, they were intentional, a direct challenge to the corruption that had defiled what was sacred. This is what you are called to do, to confront the darkness, to overturn the systems of deceit, and to make way for truth. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. John 8:32. But here is the truth. The battle is not easy. It will cost you something, just as it cost John the Baptist his freedom and his life, just as it cost Jesus his life on the cross. Yet the reward is eternal. For every voice that rises in truth, for every step taken in obedience, the kingdom of darkness trembles, knowing it cannot stand against the light. Chosen one, are you ready to rise? Are you prepared to step into the role God has prepared for you? You are not here by accident. You are not witnessing these revelations by chance. God does not move without purpose, and he does not reveal truth without reason. Like Gideon, who doubted his worth yet was chosen to lead an army of 300 against impossible odds, you may feel unworthy, but God's strength is made perfect in your weakness. Judges 6:12-16. This moment is not just about revelation, it is about action. God has exposed the schemes of the enemy and now calls you to stand. The battle before you is not fought with swords or weapons of man. It is fought with truth, courage, and faith. Will you rise to meet it? Will you take your place in the heavenly disruption that is tearing down the strongholds of deception? Chosen ones, do you see the patterns unfolding before you? Throughout history, those who have pulled back the curtain on systems of control have been both reviled and revered. Their actions shattered illusions of power, forcing the world to confront truths it desperately wanted to ignore. Have you ever wondered why such figures resonate so deeply with you? It is because their courage mirrors the very purpose that God has planted within you, a calling to see through deception and stand boldly for truth. Look at the examples we find in the Bible. When Moses stood before Pharaoh demanding, "Let my people go," Exodus 5:1, he wasn't acting out of pride or rebellion. He was compelled by God to expose the rot of Egypt's power, a kingdom built on the backs of the oppressed. Pharaoh's empire seemed untouchable, yet Moses, empowered by God's command, disrupted its foundation. His voice became the catalyst for freedom. Can you not see the parallel in your own life? What if your voice, your actions, are meant to shake the systems of oppression in your time? Even in more modern examples, figures like Edward Snowden and Daniel Ellsberg shattered the illusion of untouchable power. Their revelations laid bare the lies woven into society, truths so potent they caused governments to tremble. But this cycle is not new. It is timeless. The whistleblowers of today are the prophets of old, the disruptors God raises to reveal what others cannot see. Consider Nathan the prophet, who confronted King David after his great sin. Nathan did not cower in the face of power. He boldly declared, "You are the man," 2 Samuel 12:7, pulling back the curtain on David's hidden actions. Nathan's courage brought conviction and correction, not out of malice, but out of obedience to God's truth. What about you? When you see the lies, the rot, the injustice, will you speak or will you remain silent? You stand now at the intersection of revelation and responsibility. This is not chaos, it is correction. What appears to be upheaval is God's plan unraveling the schemes of the enemy. Every surveillance tool, every lie, every system of oppression they built to control you is now being flipped against them. Just as God used Joseph's suffering to save nations, he is turning their weapons into tools of exposure. Joseph's brothers betrayed him, sold him into slavery, and declared him as good as dead. Yet when Joseph stood in a position of power, he said to them, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Genesis 50:20. Have you felt this in your own life? The trials you thought would destroy you are now revealing a deeper purpose. What they intended to break you is becoming the very thing that strengthens you. Every scheme, every plot designed to silence your spirit is crumbling under the weight of God's divine purpose. Why are you witnessing this moment? Why are you awake when so many remain blind to what is unfolding? Could it be that you are not just an observer, but a participant in God's plan, like Esther, who was placed in the palace for such a time as this? Esther 4:14, you have been positioned right here, right now, not by chance, but by divine appointment. Esther had a choice: remain silent and safe, or rise and confront the evil that threatened her people. What choice will you make? The systems of control that once seemed invincible are now unraveling. Do you see it? This is not mere coincidence. This is the hand of God at work. The lies they built their kingdoms on are being exposed. The darkness they hid behind is being pierced by the unyielding light of truth. For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light. Luke 8:17. So, chosen one, what will you do with this truth? Will you let their lies intimidate you, or will you let God's truth embolden you? You're not here by accident. Like Moses, Nathan, Esther, and the whistleblowers of today, you have been called to act, to speak, to reveal. The systems they built to entrap you are now collapsing. Their control is crumbling under the weight of truth. And you are the witness to this reckoning. But more than that, you are the vessel through which God's purpose will flow. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. Will you rise, chosen one? Will you step into the light and take your place in this unfolding story? The time for silence has passed. The time for action is here. The question is clear, and it is waiting for your answer. God is moving. The curtain has been pulled back. The truth is shining through. Chosen ones, they believed their strength lay in their power to manipulate, to control, and to deceive. Yet that very power has become their undoing, exposing their fragility in the face of truth. Have you not seen this pattern before? It is woven throughout history, throughout Scripture, where reversal becomes the weapon of the divine. What the enemy intends for harm, God transforms into victory. When Joseph's brothers threw him into a pit, they believed they had silenced him forever. They sold him into slavery, wiping their hands clean, thinking their betrayal was final. Yet, what happened? God elevated Joseph to a throne in Egypt, placing him in a position to save the very brothers who betrayed him. Do you feel that truth resonating in your own life? What schemes have they set against you, only to see them turned inside out? Pharaoh, in his obsession with power, sought to destroy the firstborn of Israel, drowning them in the Nile. Yet it was Moses, a child saved by God's hand, who would return to that same Egypt and cry out, "Let my people go." Exodus 5:1. Pharaoh's own plans became the platform for his defeat, for through Moses, God revealed his might and delivered an entire nation. And think of Christ on the cross. They believed the crucifixion would silence him forever, that death would erase his message. Yet what they saw as a final blow became the bridge between heaven and earth, the ultimate reversal of darkness into light. The cross they intended as a symbol of shame became the very foundation of salvation. Do you see the pattern now, chosen one? What they plot for evil, God uses as the very stage upon which their failure is revealed. Their schemes against you, their betrayals and attacks are not breaking you, they are forging you. Every obstacle sharpens your awareness. Every betrayal strengthens your foundation. Every attack they level against you is like fuel in a divine fire, building a weapon that will dismantle their illusions. But here's the truth they cannot comprehend. You are not the victim of their systems. You are the disruption. You are the crack in their foundation, the anomaly that exposes their entire illusion. Have you ever considered why they fear you so much? It is because your presence alone unsettles the chains they have wrapped around the masses. You vibrate at a frequency they cannot control, like a tuning fork struck by truth itself. Your awareness awakens others. Some feel it as a spark of rebellion, others as a quiet unease, but it always begins with you. They built their systems of control on the assumption that no one would question them, no one would challenge the code they wrote to pacify the world. Yet here you stand, chosen and aware, seeing their matrix for what it truly is, a lie, a deception meant to blind and neutralize. Can you feel the power of your clarity? The more you see, the more you expose. Every question you ask, every refusal to accept their narratives sends shockwaves through their fragile order. Look to Daniel in Babylon, a man who refused to submit to the king's decrees, even when faced with death. When Daniel continued to pray openly, defying the law crafted to ensnare him, his enemies thought they had won. Yet God shut the mouths of the lions, Daniel 6:22, and Daniel emerged not as a victim, but as a symbol of unshakable defiance. Daniel's courage exposed the weakness of their schemes and glorified the God who cannot be silenced. What about you, chosen one? What lion's den have they placed before you, hoping to silence your resolve? Do you not see that God is with you in the midst of it? Your resistance is not small. Every time you refuse to follow their script, every time you reject the comfort of silence, you create a fracture in their carefully crafted illusion. You are not just fighting for yourself. You are igniting something far greater. Like ripples in an ocean they thought was calm, your defiance begins to grow. Ripples become waves. Waves become tidal forces capable of tearing down the strongest walls of oppression. They fear your defiance because they know this truth. Resistance is contagious. When you rise, others begin to see the cracks. When you refuse to settle for their lies, others start to question their own complacency. Do you realize how powerful that is? They depend on silence. They need you to be obedient, to nod, to move forward without question. Your refusal is not just rebellion, it is their failure. Every step you take toward truth is a step away from their control, and every step away shakes the foundation of their power. Chosen one, can you feel the weight of your role? You're not random. You're not insignificant. You're the pulse of divine intention manifested in this very moment. What they built to enslave you, God is using to set others free. You were not made to fit into their system. You were made to shatter it. Your awareness is a weapon. Your resistance is a movement. Your presence is the crack that becomes the collapse. This is no longer just about you. Every action you take, every truth you speak, and every lie you expose is awakening those around you. Will you accept this calling? Will you let the clarity of your descent ignite others to rise? They fear you because they know what you are capable of. The ripple that becomes a tidal wave, the voice that becomes a chorus, the light that overcomes their darkness. The system thrives on silence. Will you give it to them? Or will you stand as a beacon of truth, a vessel of divine purpose, and a force they cannot contain? The time is now. The cracks are showing. The illusion is breaking. Chosen ones, do you realize the magnitude of what you're doing? What may seem like small acts, a refusal to conform, a decision to seek truth, are not insignificant. These are tectonic shifts in a world built on lies. Do you see it now? You are not merely resisting, you are leading a charge for something far greater than they can contain. The systems of control they built were crafted with arrogance, towering like the Tower of Babel, an illusion of untouchable power meant to rival the divine order. Genesis 11:1-9. They thought their schemes could withstand the weight of their ambition. Yet just as Babel was scattered when humanity's pride defied God's truth, so too are their empires crumbling under the weight of their own designs. Do you feel it? The unraveling has begun, not by force of human hands, but by the unstoppable precision of God's justice. Every trap they laid for you, every scheme they devised to bind you, has backfired. Look at the life of Joseph once more. His brothers thought their betrayal would bury him, their envy would erase his destiny. Instead, every step of his suffering brought him closer to the throne God had prepared for him. The pit, the prison, and the betrayal were not his defeat. They were the tools that forged his purpose. Joseph declared boldly, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 50:20. What about you, chosen one? Can you see how their attempts to weaken you have instead sharpened you? How every chain they crafted has been repurposed into armor that now protects you. They underestimated you because they underestimated the God who walks with you. They thought they could ensnare you, but their own traps have turned to ashes in their hands. The tools of control they designed, manipulation, deceit, and oppression, are now twisting against them, exposing their fragility for all to see. This is not mere coincidence. This is God's justice, moving with precision and dismantling their systems of deceit piece by piece. The weapons they form against you will not prosper, and every tongue that accuses you in judgment you will condemn. Isaiah 54:17. Their empires are not built on truth, but on lies, and lies are corrosive. The human mind is not built to sustain falsehoods forever. Do you understand this, chosen one? Lies are heavy. They erode, they corrode, and they collapse under their own weight. The more they construct their illusions, the faster they unravel. Look at Haman in the story of Esther. He built gallows to destroy Mordecai, plotting deceit and manipulation to serve his ambition. Yet the very gallows he constructed became his own undoing. Esther 7:10. This is the law of consequence. What is sent out in darkness inevitably returns, and what they intended for your destruction has boomeranged with brutal precision, hastening their collapse. And where do you stand in all of this? You are not the victim of their schemes. You are the living proof of their failure. Every deceit has strengthened your clarity. Every betrayal has deepened your resolve. They thought they could bend you, twist you, and silence you. Instead, they have revealed your strength. Like Job, who faced unspeakable loss and affliction at the hands of the enemy, you stand firm, declaring, "But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold." Job 23:10. Their storm was meant to consume you, but it has consumed them instead. Do you not see it, chosen one? You are the storm they never prepared for. Every ripple of resistance you created has converged into a tidal wave. The energy they spent plotting your downfall has turned upon them, exposing the cracks in their illusion. Truth, unyielding, relentless truth, has become their reckoning. And now, here you stand, the witness to their collapse. You were not broken. You were forged. The chains meant to bind you are now the very tools of their undoing. Their schemes have only awakened you, sharpened your vision, and strengthened your faith. The lies they built their empires upon cannot withstand the weight of truth. Just as it is written, "For nothing is hidden that will not become evident, nor anything secret that will not be known and come to light." Luke 8:17. Chosen one, can you see your role in this unfolding? You are not here by chance. You are a catalyst, a disruption aligned with divine purpose. The clarity of your defiance shatters their silence. Your refusal to conform is not a small act. It is the crack in their foundation that will bring it all crashing down. They thrive on the obedience of the blind, but you have seen the truth. And once the truth is seen, it cannot be unseen. What will you do now, chosen one? Will you rise fully into your calling, knowing that their collapse has already begun? Will you let your clarity ignite the same fire in others? This is not a time to falter. This is not a time to shrink back. You are proof that truth is unstoppable. You are the storm, the fracture, the awakening they could not prepare for. The question remains, will you step forward as the vessel of God's justice? The unraveling has begun, and you are its witness. Their systems are falling, their lies are breaking, and truth, God's truth, will prevail. You were made for this moment. You are not merely surviving, you are thriving, and the world cannot contain you. Chosen ones. Betrayal is rarely a sudden blow. It moves quietly, shadowing you like a whisper in the dark, waiting for its moment to strike. It can wear the face of a friend, speak words that sound familiar, and even share bread at your table. Does this sound familiar? Even Judas walked beside Jesus, breaking bread with him, walking the same path, all while harboring the seeds of treachery. Yet understand this, betrayal does not escape divine sight. It is not a random act of cruelty. It is permitted by God not to destroy you, but to fulfill a greater purpose. Think about the story of Jesus and Judas. Judas's betrayal was not unknown to God. Jesus, knowing full well what Judas was about to do, declared at the Last Supper, "Truly, I tell you, one of you will betray me." Matthew 26:21. How could the Savior, in his divine wisdom, allow such a man to walk so closely with him? Because God's plans cannot be stopped by betrayal. Judas's treachery, though it led to the cross, also paved the way for redemption, the ultimate fulfillment of God's purpose. Do you see the pattern? The betrayal of man becomes the platform for God's victory. Reflect deeply, chosen one. The signs have always been there. Perhaps it was misplaced loyalty, a hesitation that didn't make sense, an unexplained absence when you needed them most, or a slip of the tongue that lingered in your mind. Maybe it was a look that didn't match the words spoken, a subtle shift that your spirit noticed but couldn't yet explain. These moments are not coincidences. They are warnings, subtle yet deliberate. Have you felt it before? That stirring in your soul when something doesn't align, when actions betray intentions. That is not paranoia. It is discernment. It is God revealing the cracks in the mask before it falls. Look to the story of Samson and Delilah. Delilah's betrayal did not begin with a sword. It began with words, words of affection, words that disarmed Samson's discernment. She sat beside him, pretended to care for him, all while working against him. She asked, "Tell me the secret of your great strength." Judges 16:6. Feigning love while plotting his downfall. Yet God used even this betrayal to bring judgment on the Philistines, and to remind us that those who sit closest can sometimes be the greatest agents of destruction. But here's the truth. Betrayal is not your downfall. It is your refining. This is not a call to despair, but to discernment. God allows betrayal not to break you, but to sharpen your focus and strengthen your faith. Have you considered this? Those who betray you are merely exposing themselves as instruments of a larger plan. Their treachery is their undoing, not yours. God allows the mask to slip so that you may rise unburdened by false alliances, unshackled by misplaced trust, and ready for the mission He has placed before you. In systems of power, infiltration is always the enemy's first tactic. They rarely come with open hostility. No, the enemy comes under the guise of familiarity. They sit at your table, speak words that mirror your own, and walk beside you until your guard is down. Isn't this what David experienced when he wrote, "Even my close friend, someone I trusted, one who shared my bread, has turned against me"? Psalm 41:9. Betrayal wounds deeply because it comes from those we trust. But it is not the end of your story. It is a divine revelation meant to free you. Pray for clarity, chosen one. Discernment is your strongest shield against their deception. Ask yourself, what doesn't align? What loyalties feel unstable? Where have I ignored the small betrayals that point to a greater truth? God is faithful in exposing what is hidden. For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light. Luke 8:17. Trust Him to reveal what you need to see. Lean on Him when it hurts. Betrayal may sting, but it is also a form of liberation. It clears the path of false alliances and reveals who is truly walking with you. What they thought would weaken you has only strengthened your resolve. What they plotted in secret will soon be exposed to the light, for God's justice moves with precision. Their actions have not buried you, they have forged you. Do you see it now? Every betrayal is a turning point. It removes those who cannot journey further with you and prepares you for what comes next. As with Joseph, as with Jesus, as with David, betrayal becomes the tool through which God shapes His purpose. This is your moment of clarity, chosen one. The masks are slipping, the false alliances are crumbling. You are being prepared to rise, unburdened and unafraid, for what comes next. God's truth will shine through the darkness, and you will emerge not as a victim of betrayal, but as a witness to His faithfulness. Trust this truth. What they meant for harm, God will use for your good. Genesis 50:20. So, will you lean into discernment? Will you pray for clarity and trust God's process, even when the betrayal cuts deep? This is not the end. It is your liberation, your refining, your preparation. The mask is slipping. The truth is coming to light. Chosen ones, do not fear their proximity. They may stand near you, they may move among you, but proximity does not equate to power. Their plans, no matter how intricate or relentless, are powerless against the unstoppable force of divine purpose. What they devise to weaken you will only strengthen your reliance on God. Have you not seen this before? Every time they thought they had cornered you, God made a way. Every scheme they set has been flipped against them. No weapon formed against you will prosper, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. Isaiah 54:17. The enemy within your camp will be revealed. Their schemes will be dismantled, their efforts reversed, and their presence will become nothing more than a stepping stone toward your destiny. Why? Because truth always rises. With it, your clarity becomes unshakable, your purpose undeniable. Do you see it now? Every trial you faced was never random. Each betrayal, each wound, each struggle was not meant to destroy you, but to forge something unbreakable within you. Look at Joseph, betrayed and sold into slavery by his own brothers. Every hardship he endured, slavery, false accusations, imprisonment, was preparing him for the throne God had destined for him. In the end, Joseph looked back and said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Genesis 50:20. The pain you have endured, chosen one, has forged within you a strength that cannot be broken. You've adapted to circumstances meant to destroy you and risen stronger with every fall. Is that not proof of God's hand upon your life? This is no accident. This is the unveiling of your potential. Awakening is not a singular moment. It is a series of reckonings, raw confrontations with your limits, the lies of the world, and the illusions you once held. It is the tearing down of falsehoods and the rebuilding of truth within you. And you have stood in that reckoning time and again. With every fall, you have risen not as who you were, but as who you were always meant to be. This is not a revelation to fear. It is power unleashed. Think of Job, who faced loss so immense that it could have shattered any man's spirit. But Job's faith endured. In his despair he said, "When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold." Job 23:10. The trials you have faced were not sent to defeat you. They were sent to refine you like gold in the fire, until you are unshakable, unstoppable, a force that reshapes the very world around you. Your awakening is not just for you. Like a supernova, a star that collapses under its own gravity, only to explode with force so powerful it reshapes the cosmos, your transformation has begun. The light you have unleashed is not just for your journey. It is burning away complacency in those around you. Do you not see it? Others are watching you, some silently, others unknowingly, and your courage inspires them to rise. You are the spark they need, the light that shows them that they too can break free from the chains holding them back. But this is not the end of your transformation. This is only the beginning. God has given you the tools, clarity, discernment, and power, but the choice is yours. Free will is both a gift and a test, a divine invitation to rise beyond comfort and step fully into the purpose for which you were created. You stand at the crossroads now. Do you remember Joshua, who stood before the people of Israel and declared, "Choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." Joshua 24:15. Joshua knew the weight of choice. He knew that complacency leads to stagnation, while faith and courage ignite transformation. And now the choice is before you. The wide, well-trodden path may seem safe, but it leads to mediocrity. The narrow, untamed path, the path of courage and sacrifice, is where transformation happens. It is not easy, but it is necessary. Will you choose the path of fleeting comfort, or will you embrace the fiery refinement of purpose? Your decisions now are not isolated. They ripple into eternity. Like the hero in every story, you stand at a spiritual fork in the road. One direction offers the illusion of safety, but leads to stagnation. The other demands courage, faith, and sacrifice, but unleashes your fullest potential. Which will you choose? This moment is bigger than you. Your decisions today set the tone for generations to come. Like Esther, you were placed here for such a time as this. Esther 4:14. Esther stood at her own crossroads with a choice to remain silent and safe, or to rise and risk everything for her people. She chose courage, and because of her decision, a nation was saved. What will your decision unleash? You are part of a divine shift, a movement designed to break chains and shatter illusions. The choice is yours. But hear this, God has already equipped you for what lies ahead. Step forward. The illusion is breaking, the chains are falling. Will you step into the destiny prepared for you? Beloved chosen ones, the time for waiting has passed. The call to action is no longer distant. It is here, resounding in your heart. You were chosen, divinely appointed to carry the torch of truth and blaze, a trail for those still trapped in darkness. This is not a burden, it is your birthright. The same God who parted the Red Sea is with you now, clearing a path through every obstacle that stands in your way. What seemed impossible yesterday is now inevitable. You are not alone. Every step you take reverberates with the courage of those who came before you, warriors of faith, disruptors of systems, the voices that could not be silenced. Their victories flow through your veins, igniting a fire that cannot and will not be extinguished. You were created for this moment. Everything you need to rise has already been planted within you by the Creator Himself. Do not listen to the whispers of doubt, the threats of failure, the lies that tell you you're not ready or not enough. They are illusions, powerless in the face of God's truth. No weapon formed against you will prosper. Isaiah 54:17. This is not just a promise. It is a decree spoken over your life, etched into eternity by the hand of God Himself. You are the spark that sets the fire, the light that pierces through the shadows. This is your moment, the very moment you were made for. Step forward boldly with unshakable purpose, knowing that your destiny is yours to claim. You are not alone in this battle. Angels move alongside you, surrounding you with unseen strength. Your ancestors whisper wisdom into your spirit, cheering you on from beyond the veil. The Creator Himself walks with you, strengthening your every step. Remember this, chosen one. Challenges are not barriers. They are the fires that forge your resilience. Every obstacle is a revelation, showing you the depth of your power, a power placed within you by God, waiting to emerge. You're not a mere mortal bound by limitations. You're a celestial storm, a force unstoppable, ordained to shift the very foundations of this world. The world waits. Yes, it waits for you. It waits for the fullness of your light, for the brilliance only you can bring. Do not delay. Rise, take your place, and let the truth you carry ignite courage in others. Speak boldly. Share your story. Let your voice be the thunder that breaks the silence. The battle is already won, and the victory is waiting for you to claim it. Chosen ones, if this message resonates within you, if you feel its truth stirring in your soul, let it not end here. Like, share, and spread this message to those who need to hear it. Let others who feel lost or trapped see the light and power that is also within them. You are not alone in this journey. Together we rise. I thank you from the depths of my heart for your courage, your faith, and your presence in this divine moment. May God bless you abundantly. May He guide your steps, strengthen your spirit, and light your path with clarity and purpose. Go forth, beloved chosen ones. The world needs your light now more than ever. Rise boldly, for your time is now. Destiny awaits. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. You were made for this. Let the world see your light.